Materials in English language teaching should be useful and interesting for students. It should motivate students to reach the goals proposed in the English learning and practice the communicative skills. We can find materials like writings, games, contests, unusual topics, illustration, photographs, histories, readings, conversation activities, listening interviews, music, and more. If you want to learn how to choose the correct materials, let's see the next principles. Principles of second language acquisition relevant to the development of materials for language teaching. First, materials should achieve impact. Should be novelty, variety, attractive, appeal, and achievable. The second one is materials should help learners to feel at ease. Students should not fear materials but feel at ease with them. Materials should help learners to develop confidence. It must develop creativity and intelligence for them to feel they are doing their best effort to get good results. What is being taught should be perceived by learners as relevant and useful. Students should know the importance of what they are doing or what they are learning. Teachers should show them the application in the real life. Now we have materials should require and facilitate learners' self-investment. Students should self-invest about their interest, effort, and attention in the learning activity. Let's continue with learners must be ready to acquire the points being taught. Teachers should prepare students for new learnings, always taking into account what they already know and what they are ready to learn. Materials should expose the learners to language in authentic use. Make the learning process imaginative and motivated using materials that are not created for this intention, like magazines, newspaper, restaurant menus, travel brochures, and others. The learner's attention should be drawn to linguistic features of the input. It means that materials should include grammar and explain how the language is actually used. Now, let's go with materials should provide the learners with opportunities to use the target language to achieve communicative purpose. It means that the materials should provide the necessary and the opportunity to use the target language in class to develop the communicative purpose. The principal material should take into account that the positive effects of instructions are usually delayed. It means that students take the information from a class, but it is not used immediately in the same class. The positive effects will have results in the future. Materials should take into account that learners differ in learning styles. Teachers should provide a variety of activities and should support all learning styles, such as visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, experiential learners, analytic learners, and more. Materials should take into account that learners differ in activity attitudes. Provide students with different kinds of tests and activities for them to choose what each of them prefer, taking into account the diversity of interests, attitudes, feelings, and cultures. Materials should permit a silent period at the beginning of the instruction. Teachers should not force learners to speak until they are ready. In silent moments, they can internalize the grammar. Materials should maximize learning potential by encouraging intellectual, aesthetic, and emotional involvement, which simulates both right and left brain activities. It stimulates thoughts and feelings in the learners. It is also important that the activities are not too simple and it cannot be too easily achieved without the learners making use of their previous experiences and the brain. Materials should not rely too much on controlled practice. The participation of the students should be spontaneous and motivate the language use. And the last one is that materials should provide opportunities